Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void and your Sunday series. It's going to be Nation Wars 2019 and a best of 7 between the Netherlands and the United States. Game number 1 is going to be between Future and Uthermal here on Acropolis, the latter edition, bottom right-hand corner. It is the red Terran player Future. He's a 17-year-old American, up and coming, like the talent on this kid. He's taken down some pretty big players in his time. We'll see if he can do it against the juggernaut that is Uthermal. In the top left, playing under one of his Smurf names, which is Thermostat, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it for just a second. So going to be TVT. We're going to get PvPs up in here. We're going to get ZVTs. We have players like Rhett and Neeb involved later on as well. Harstom's going to make an appearance. It's going to be a really good time. Really excited for this one. I know it's not Korea versus, who was it? Korea versus Finland that we had a couple weeks ago. That was one heck of a series. Some incredibly super duper elite players there. But this is just two countries with a lot of great players in it. I'm just going to tell you that much. So, boop. Little boop on the nose there. They just actually passed right through each other because apparently they're scouting using the mineral walk, which means you just pass through other units to get in your way if you're going to some minerals. If they weren't mineral walking, then they would bop each other in the nose and just continue on as they went on past. So is it more intimate to phase through somebody else than it is to boop them on the nose like that? I assume it is. So we've got Reaper names. Reaper name number 1 is Reaper. When Minsk found out he had a citizen living in the Dominion named Reaper name, he found himself unable to do anything but force the young man into the Reaper service. So this guy's name is Reaper. SCV harassment down here is kind of fun. Same thing down here. Does delay the expansion just a bit. And then Blue Reaper's name is going to be Lucky. Because seriously, if you end up in a Reaper suit, are you really that lucky? He's about to put his namesake to the ultimate test. So Lucky versus Reaper here in game number 1. Usually Reapers and TVTs kind of just stay home. But you know what? Are they moving out? We're going to have an epic battle culminating in the middle of the map here. This SCV wants to get a hit off on this Reaper. Ooh, so we can win the battle. But no, not enough. Too smart for that. Uthermal's Reaper heads on back home. Lucky the Reaper is a little bit lucky there and also smart. It's better to be smart than lucky is what they say. The engagement, though, is real. Can anybody escape from this? Can our Red Reaper escape? Mr. Reaper himself does have the same move speed as the guy chasing him, so as long as he doesn't stop or slow down, he's going to be just fine. Now, where's our TVT at? What are we doing? We're going a lot of Reapers? Not really. Ah, nicely done. Nicely controlled there by the second Reaper coming out from Future. Does shove that away, keep his dude alive. Combat drugs will heal him up momentarily, and he'll have 2 scouters on the other side of the map here. Is there another Reaper for Uthermal? I don't think there is. He just has the one. He's making Hellions now, and Hellions are a fantastic answer to Reapers because that bonus damage versus light really makes them hit hard. But double Reaper coming on in. They're both going to be full health here momentarily. And they're at least going to get a scout off and see what we're dealing with. And the answer is, it's a factory. It is a starport. Barracks, factory, starport, 1-1-1 build. Nothing crazy there, but the Hellions are already moving out. Do the Reapers want to get in? The question is, no, they're heading home. They're heading home in a Cyclone deck of choice here from Future. Cyclone really good against this. Doesn't take bonus damage from anything here. Hits pretty hard with that lock-on ability from a long range. Nothing here, shoots from a long range, but no! Our Reaper is down. Was that Lucky? Was that Lucky the Reaper who's dead? The Hellions are a little bit faster. Bam! Ah, he's out. Lucky the Reaper. Put his namesake to the ultimate test and ended up dead. Now, Reaper the Reaper's still alive. Interestingly enough. Keep that going. I love the Cyclone sitting here. This is great. Another Cyclone on the way. 2 Cyclones can defend against a lot of incursions in any matchup. If you're Terran, it can deal with drops. It can deal with Oracles. It can deal with Overlords coming in to try to scout you. Making an early Cyclone is not a bad idea. You usually see it versus Protoss and those pesky Warp Prisms, but in this case, no. We might actually see it in this drop that Uthermal's going to try to get in here on Future's base. The Cyclones are in the wrong place to defend this. There's apparently no vision at all on this side of the map, so let's do this thing. Uthermal gets the drop in on the very edge. There's going to be 4 Hellions, and there's going to be some dead SCVs. All right, some dead SCVs. How many is the question? The answer is, are they fighting? Why would you fight here? That's bad. 6 SCVs die there. The other ones managed to hide. And the lock-on is making sure, to some extent. Oh boy, the Hellions trying to get on top of those Cyclones again. Okay, Cyclones are all dead. 9 SCVs die. Nobody got up there alive. All the Hellions are out. And the medevac maybe could be dead too if the Cyclones are in position to do anything about it. But no, they just let it get out of there. You may leave, madam, they say. So it's 37 to 30 workers. Uthermal has a nice lead. He was macroing behind that. He's got a third command center on the way. Same story here for Future. His might actually be a little bit further along. In fact, it is. It is substantially further along compared to his opponents. So, let's see if that pays off for Future here, expanding a little bit faster after taking that economic hit. Can the the Reaper lives. Reaper does escape. The Cyclones are in hot pursuit, though. Trying to catch him, but I'm not sure that they will. The jukes are real. Coming back around that way. Look at this. Oh, they're splitting up. They're splitting up. I think we're... Oh, that's it. We're done. We're done, so... Wow, that was a lot of effort to kill a Reaper, but Reaper's dead. But he lasts longer than Lucky did, so we'll accept it on that front. Alright, third CC done here for Uthermal. It's already done, and almost an orbital command. For Future, he's got a couple Ravens. He's running with the Mad Max skin today, which I kind of enjoy. Put knives on everything. Every gun has a knife. Every turret has a knife. The SCVs have spikes on them for no reason whatsoever. It's just very post-apocalyptic wasteland style stuff. But yeah, there's your third base. Landing on in here. Three tanks here from Thermostat, from Uthermal. He's got his own Ravens in the mix too. We are going to see some interference matrix here. What? I missed something. Why is there an empty medevac? Wow, Uthermal just boosted an empty medevac in here for no reason. I guess maybe he was trying to provoke a response? But I guess scouting is pretty good too. But I am perplexed. I am perplexed by that decision. Anyway, factory here. Future is definitely going for more of a mech strategy. And pretty much the same thing we're seeing here out of Uthermal. He's got his own factory. Is he going for any additional factories is the question as he lays down his third. He's going to want to, if he's going to produce enough stuff to keep up with the income that the three bases are going to provide him. But it's basically a bunch of tanks versus a couple Cyclones in the mix and a bunch of tanks and a Marine. So, man, TVT is such a rough matchup. It's a rough matchup because if you get the positioning wrong just a little bit, you walk into something like this, you're not quite ready for it, you lose your whole army and you're dead and you can't remax. And yeah, TVT is a mess. I know a lot of players, well, not a lot, I've heard of some players who will just instantly quit a TVT if it comes up in their ladder. They'd rather play any other matchup than TVT. I kind of feel that way about ZVZ. I hate Zerg versus Zerg just because I always die in the Ling Baneling stage. Because really super great microcontrol is not my forte. Anyway, pushing on in, Uthermal gonna siege up in range of Future's third base. This is bad. This is really bad for Future. We're gonna zoom out to get a better picture of what's going on here. Tanks for Future setting up and taking some hits here too. The air superiority from Uthermal allowing Uthermal to hit here and Future not to be able to fight back. The Ravens are coming around the backside. Maybe interference matrix on 2 or 3 of these tanks. There you go. Interference matrix there, and then you unsiege. And maybe you kill him. All his Ravens are dead, which is a problem. The air still belongs to Uthermal. And that's it. Good game. Too much of a push. Uthermal gets the win there. Yeah, anytime your opponent manages to get their tanks in range of your command center and you can't do anything about it to stop them from getting there, that base is done. And when you know it's Uthermal and he has a third base of his own, it's just not going to happen. I love the attempt of interfering with those 3 tanks along the left side to try to make them not part of the battle and getting in there. But if the air belongs to the blue Terran here, Uthermal, it's going to be hard to do much of anything else. So great job there in game number 1. Resources lost 4,000 to 1,000. We're going to give Team the Netherlands a 1-0 lead up here. 26 SCVs died for Future. Holy smokes. I guess a lot of that was in that final battle, but only 1 SCV died for Uthermal, and that's a big deal. So let's move into game number 2. Not sure what we're going to get, but I'm sure it's going to be fun anyway. Game 2 is between Rhett and Neeb here on Ephemeron, the Ladder Edition. Holy smokes, Rhett. I've been casting a lot of replays from Rhett, but if you haven't seen them, it's just because it's a Broodor replay. And I'm not sure there's very much overlap between my StarCraft 2 and Broodor replays. So Man, Rhett was an incredible Brood War player back in the day. All right, bottom right corner, we have the blue Protoss player, Neeb. And in the top left-hand corner, it is the red Zerg player, Rhett. Oh, I love Rhett so much. Cast a bunch of games with him on the channel. He's been around since like 2002 in the StarCraft scene. Such a long time playing this game, which means basically that when I was a kid in the year 1990, right? And I'd be watching StarCraft and someone's like, he's been doing this for almost 20 years. That means that he's been doing it since like 1970, like 1969, which when I was a kid, which is an insurmountable, unfathomable amount of time, which apparently from 2020 to 2002 is not as much. Go figure. Anyway, man, Rhett's a great player. I have a huge replay pack of his, and most of the games, as we go 16, 18, 17, are like 4 minutes. Because Rhett was really big on Ling rushes. Rhett is one of those early players that loved his Zerglings so very much. 1 gate expand. Oh, 2 gate expanding it here is Neeb. What? What are your shenanigans here? This is aggressive. This is an aggressive play from Neeb, which I'm not sure is a great idea because Rhett is probably inclined to be aggressive himself. I haven't seen much of him in the current era. Again, most of the stuff I cast of his is very old at this point. But again, he's been around forever. He's seen all the tricks. He knows all the things. Just a question of can he keep up. So Neeb goes for a 2 gate expand with Cyber Core before Nexus. So this can't be anything other than 2 Adepts would be my guess. Stalkers aren't very good here because Speedlings are amazing. Yeah, Adepts have more mobility and can do a better job getting in, killing stuff, and getting out. Now, what is Rhett working on? His 2 Queens. He's making 4 Zerglings. Overlord comes in and sees, oh, 2 Gateways, both being Chrono Boost. Let's maybe make more Zerglings than 4. And that's really what he should be doing according to the production tab. It's not, mind you. He is making drones. There we go. 4 more sets of Lings on the way. So we're going to have a lot. We're going to have a lot of Zerglings here. Speed is coming on in. There will be Queens to help with this too. 2 Adepts are not intended to win the game by any stretch, but there are 2 more coming in. 2 more. 4 Adepts this early is definitely aggressive, and that's why you go for the 2 gate opening. So here we go. Adept. Nope, don't fight against the Queen. You can't kill the Queen. You maybe can, but not fast enough to really be worth anything. Man, the longer you delay on this, the speed's going to be done. Is the problem. Did he shade in? Oh, she shaded into the main base. Okay, well, 1 drone is killed. That's good. The additional Lings are here, though. And I don't know. The Adepts shade out. They finish that transfer. Now they come back in. And, where are all my Oh, he didn't actually make 8 more additional Zerglings. Oh, I see what happens here. There you go. You did take down the Queen. Cancel that transfer. There we go. 8 more sets of Lings on the way. So he just increased it from 2 to 4 is what he did. I thought he was going to have more Lings in this. He does not. These Adepts are going to finish that transfer. Oh, last second. Last second decided not to finish the transfer. He forced a bunch of Lings out here. Rhett taking his 3rd base a little bit late, which is fine for me because he took his base a little bit late here too. I'm not sure he got enough done. He killed a Queen, 3 Zerglings, and a drone. Is that enough damage for the sacrifice you made to delaying your natural? I don't know. Robotics facility coming in. A ton of Adepts are here, though. This has, I mean, a ton of Adepts into robotics facility. Why not Twilight Council? I'm pretty sure this was played on the old patch. Oh, but not the old patch. So, golly, keeping track of these things is rough. So basically what we're saying here is Resonating Glaives does not exist. He'd be going for it if it was. I don't think we've seen a mass Adept play attempted here without Resonating Glaives since they got rid of that upgrade. Finish the transfer. Zerglings aren't in here enough. I really don't think there are enough of them here at all. In fact, how many Adepts died there? I want to say it was 0 would be my guess. Adepts moving into the main base. 3 more drones going down. More Zerglings popping on out. Trying to get that surround here. The angle is pretty darn good for Neeb, though. And how many Adepts can get out? The answer is all of them but 1. They get into the natural base. They delay some more timing here. Man, 13, 14. The drone count is going through the roof. Through the roof right now. If they go back in, man, Neeba's just planning on sacking these Adepts. Just kidding. Gonna recall some of them. 3 or 4. 3 or 4 of them made it back home. We'll say 4. So 4 of them made it back home. 17 drones were killed. It is 45 to 33 workers. Neeb has a third base coming up right now. Rhett, at some point you need roaches or you need banelings. When there are this many adepts, banelings are going to be the key. But again, hard to know. Hard to know exactly how many adepts your opponent's committing to. Hard to read that perfectly. And so Rhett is behind, but how much of that is his fault necessarily is kind of up for debate. Hallucinated Phoenix comes in, sees the Roach Horn, and says, that's not done yet. Also, I have an Immortal. So army supply is 29 to 17. Red is back up even in worker count, but that's because he had to spend a lot of resources and a larva creating more drones. His army is nothing. He has some queens and some zerglings, man. He's making like 20 more lings here, which is nice, but the force fields, if they're good out of Neeb, doesn't really matter. Yeah, there you go. Nice dodge on that force field play. If Neeb wants to stay out there for a while, Red's okay with that. You want to stay in the bottom of that ramp for all time? I am 100% acceptable and amenable to that one for sure. It's going to be lings and queens to defend here is the entire plan. Couple adepts, maybe try to get over and get some stuff done in the natural base, while the rest of the army threatens this third. Nope, cancel the transfer. Just being real patient here for adepts. Think about going in, but they're outnumbered significantly. They're not finishing that transfer cancel at the last second. The control display here is great. And going for a Spire. We don't really see much Spire this early in ZVP. Maybe he's going for Mutas. Maybe he's just a believer in the power of Muta dating back to the Brood War days. He got a ton of gas income here too. But the problem is Neeb also has a ton of gas income as he is also on 6 geysers. So I mean, Neeb's ahead, which is not really unexpected at this stage of the game. Warp Prism with some Zealots going to try to do some stuff. Charge is not done yet, but it doesn't really matter. They still hit hard, especially if they're right on top of the target. A little compact Warp Prism over here. Third base or main base? What do you think? Third base, a little bit more defense in it, so main base is probably a better target. Some Lings trying to run around and see if there's a third from Neeb, and of course there is, because we're at 7 minutes. And here come the Zealots. Did not unload right on top of the Queen, but I think she's going to die anyway because she stood to fight. And then Queen Anti-Air against the Warp Prism. Pretty good. Could have got some extra shots off on there. Queens are not at the third. All right. So Neeb pushing out again. This time I have 2 Immortals, he says, and a couple Archons. And Rhett is taking a 4th base now, but it just seems a little bit late. If you're going to try to keep up with the Protoss player, gotta expand faster than this is what you gotta do. 11 Roaches in production. Some Ravagers would be really key here for Rhett. Like, really key here for the Zerg player. He's making some Ravagers. All right. Is 4 enough? I don't know. 75 to 63 army supply. Does that seem like it's enough? Coming up the ramp. Here is Neeb. This is a do-or-die situation for Rhett. If he can hold this, he's going to be in a good spot, but I'm not sure he has enough firepower. There is just too much Immortal, too much Archon in the mix. Zealots right on top of the Roaches on the left side. The Roaches and Ravagers on the back are trying to kite as well as they can. And once the Zealots are gone, their job is a lot easier, but this left side is just getting manhandled right now. The Immortals are focusing down eggs that are trying to hatch, taking out extractors, whatever they can get. Warp Prism flying around. Doing as well as they can, but dodging Corrosive Biles. Right side not going very well, left side not going very well, and that's your good game. Neeb takes it and gives the Netherlands a 2-2-0, or rather, takes it and does tie it up for the United States. Neeb gets the victory. We're at 1-1 right now in this best of 7. We basically reset it into a best of 5, which is how this works. Resources lost are disgusting. 7,000 and 2,000 in favor of the Protoss. Did not lose an Immortal. Did not lose an Archon in that match. Lost a single Sentries, some Adepts, and a few Zealots, which is totally acceptable. 37 drones down to 1 probe. Yeah, I mean, this is just... That is just timings, man. Those Adepts were not handled very well and all went downhill from there. So... let's move into game number 3. Should be a good one. Don't leave your seat. Next up, we have Thunderbird with him, Canning, and Harstum. Ooh, gonna be a good one. Top left, red Protoss player, the most patriotic American who plays StarCraft. It is M. Canning. And in the bottom right-hand corner, a good representative of his country, probably the best player from his country at this point. It is Harstum playing the blue Protoss. All right, PvP here on Thunderbird, a very big map. Basically, the third base is going to be taken by both of these players, but PvP is a pretty volatile matchup, so maybe that will not happen. M. Kenning streams a lot. He's very engaging. I have no idea how he does it while playing at a high level. I play at a low level, and I'm not at that engaging. So, M. Kenning has superpowers, is what I'm saying here. He's very handsome as well. And the bottom right, maybe even more handsome, we have Hearthstone. Alright, so opening up double gate into a cyber core. If you do anything else in PvP, you are going to die. One gate expand? No. Nexus first? No. Nexus, cyber core, gateway? You need to throw down both gateways at the front, boop, boop, and then a cyber core, and then decide what you're gonna do. Don't make zealots. Okay, you can go double gate or sentry, you can go adepts, you can go stalkers, you can go any mixture of any of those things. Do not make zealots for the love of all that is holy in your PvP, or you will 100% die. Cyber core, there it is. I mean, what else do we say about this? Honestly, not much. Tell you the truth, there's a cyber core. Ooh, we got a proxy though. All right. This feels like a proxy Stargate if I had to place my bets on this. The Hearthstone is going to proxy Stargate this thing, and the probe's going to come in and see that there's only one pylon. And for a second here, that will be normal, but eventually you're going to be saying, where's your second pylon? Is there in fact a proxy? Throws down, oh, that's a very cool spray. That's a Colossus throwing on a GLHF with its lasers, lasering them into the ground. That's hot. M. Canning, good stuff, man. Good stuff there. All right, yep, there's your Stargate. Probably going to be Oracles coming over here to murder M. Canning real fast. M. Canning, his macro and his control are really good. Hearthstone is just clinically very excellent, too. I don't know. Hearthstone, I think, is probably favored in this situation. Do you see the second pylon yet? He doesn't see the second pylon yet, and he knows. He knows there's a proxy of some kind somewhere. What it is the question of the day. He hasn't scouted this, has he? No, he has not scouted this, but he's looking around. He knows because of that second pylon that was missing. I like this. I like M. Canning being smart. Poking around, maybe not going all the way up to the north here, which is what he needs to do, but sometimes that's how this works. You just don't scout the place where the thing is, and then suddenly you're dead. Oh, this is better. This is better from M. Canning. Cruising up, and he saw it. Okay, it's an Oracle. Oracle's on the way. Oracle's name is Karen. Karen was an adept who spent her entire life in the Temples of Ire. One day she found an injured Zergling and nursed it back to health, only for it to rip her to shreds. Bitter and seeking revenge, she refused to die and was uploaded to an Oracle, and now Karen spends her days exacting revenge on anyone, and especially the Swarm. But in this case, it's going to be in a PvP. So here we go. Oracle shows up. Doesn't do anything, which is very interesting, but there are two stalkers waiting for her. So, I mean, one worker kill for a proxy Oracle is not super great. Another Oracle's on the way, which is much better at this stage. But, man, two stalkers, pretty scary stuff. Natural base about to warp in for both players. They're both at about 60-70%. M. Canning is closer than that, actually. Robotics facility follow-up from Hearthstone, as his initial play did lose out. Twilight Council with Blink on the way from M. Canning. So double Oracle trying to get in here, but shield battery plus stalkers means bad news bears. Like, you might get maybe a couple probes, but that healing is insanely good from that shield battery. All right, so wow, M. Canning really looking good here in this situation. I kind of like it. I was not expecting him to win this match, but you never know. I don't know actually who wins these matches at all. I mean, Neeb versus Rhett, sure. Neeb was going to win that thing, about 99% sure. But this one, Hearthstone, maybe like a 60-40 in this PvP. It's kind of gone down at this point since that initial gambit failed. These Oracles haven't really done much of anything. The good news for Hearthstone is they have pretty good utility with Revelation and kind of sneaking in and sniping stuff off later in the game when nobody expects an Oracle attack. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Blink coming in for M. Canning. What are we doing on the other side? From Hearthstone, making his Immortals, which you need to do in a PvP. Too often, whoever wins a PvP is going to be the one that has more Immortals. They're just too good against everything. There we go. One probe down. Taking some hull damage. That's not what you want to do. Hallucinated Phoenix comes in and sees, yes, robotics facility. Nothing too untoward here. M. Canning isn't rushing to carriers or something insane like that, which would actually be pretty good, to be honest. Like, if you could get away with it, rush to carriers and catch Hearthstone by surprise, and he shows up with, like, 4 Immortals, a couple Stalkers, a bunch of Zealots, yeah, the carriers would win that. But yeah, on this stage, you don't want to do that. You want a lot of Gateways, you want a lot of Immortals, you want the Blink Stalkers for the mobility, and for the damage that you do against pretty much everything, except for Charge Lots, because Charge Lots just don't take a bunch of damage from anything but Banelings, I guess. They really do take a lot of damage from Banelings, though. That bonus versus light is kind of a big deal. Sneaking on in and trying to get Sentry. Can't quite do it, though. I think might have gotten a probe there. Hard to tell. What has been killed in this game? Really? 4 probes. Okay, so it's all been probes. But I think Mcanning's okay with this. He's down a couple of workers. Third base from Hearthstone's on the way, as, again, was prophesied because this game's on Thunderbird. It's just too easy to guard. It's too easy to guard 3 bases on this ramp. It's an up ramp, too. It's not a low ground to low ground either. So that is another reason Thunderbird is really big on third bases. Mcanning does not show much interest whatsoever as he starts a Dark Shrine in getting a third base. So my prophecy was inaccurate. Wait, hang on. Hang on. Mcanning is... Okay, he is doing it. My prophecy was 100% correct. Who questioned my prophesying powers? I hope it wasn't you. Yeah, so there's your third base coming up from Mcanning. Third base here from Hearthstone. Dun, 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 dun. Dark Shrine. Another robotics facility. Disruptor is another thing that Mcanning is in love with. He loves the Disruptor, perhaps more than anybody in the entire planet. He likes the Disruptors. And he's okay with the current iteration of the Disruptor. There were previous iterations he liked better, but this one is fine. He doesn't complain about it too much that I'm aware of. So third base coming up. It is late. I mean, Hearthstone's third has been up and running to the point that it's saturated at this point. Army supply about the same. Hearthstone's worker count continues to increase as his macro is just going through the roof. And it might be that Mcanning needs to get some nice Disruptor hits if he's going to win this match. Can he do it is the question on everybody's mind. So these Nation Wars battles have been kind of a good way for me to get some good mirror matches into my casting. I don't like to do a lot of mirror match casting because they don't get much attention by you guys. It seems like a minority of you enjoy any mirror matchup at all. I mean, maybe like a longer TVT might be something you're interested in, but other than that. So yeah, we get some PvPs in here. We might get some ZVZs, which we never ever see. Zealot says this has been making stuff for far too long. I can't believe this entirely exposed Stargate still exists up here. You can't stop that Phoenix from finishing, and in fact is going to die to the Oracles. And in fact, this will keep making Phoenix. So Hearthstone doing a bit of a Skytoss sub-army here. I mean, his big army is down here. He's got Zealots and Immortals and whatnot. But if he has a few Phoenix to do some lifting, he's got some Oracles to burn some stuff down real fast, burn down a couple sentries, perhaps. Might not be a bad idea. A lift and kill on something. I don't know what it is. Ooh, Mcanning sends a DT over to shut down this situation. And I think he might actually be able to stop this. Is that Phoenix going to finish? Place your bets now. Chrono Boost, not enough. Chrono Boost wasted on a dead Stargate. In fact, that hurts. That hurts immensely from Hearthstone. He's making a fourth base, though, to soothe his emotional wounds. Disruptor's ready to rock, but I don't know. I feel like Hearthstone's a little bit too good to die to Disruptor hits. You know what I mean? Like, he's too good to be somebody who's going to lose because he couldn't control well enough to dodge and split against a Disruptor hit. Could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong. It's very possible that's exactly what happens. Whoa, dodging back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We are dodging back and forth and dancing all day long. All right, come on. Come on, let's engage here. Taking down an Oracle, losing on Sentry for it. That's probably a fair trade. I personally would trade an Oracle for a Stalker. Yeah. Oracles are expensive. They take Stargate time, which you don't have a powered Stargate currently, do you? You have another Stargate at home? That'd be interesting if you did. He's making 2 more. And a Fleet Beacon. Holy smokes, is Hearthstone going carriers? I mean, it's not a carrier rush by any stretch. But going carriers here would be a ton of fun from Hearthstone. Oh, it's Phoenix, a little bit exposed. A couple of them die for nothing. Not what you want to do. Meanwhile, who's warping into Charge Lots and Immortals into Mcanning's main base? Well, Hearthstone is. I don't know who else would be here, to be honest with you. Shield Batteries, Zealots, and DTs are kind of handling it, though. Oh, there's an Observer, but no! It takes down the War Prism. The Immortals die. And M. Canning's army's like, I didn't have to go back home at all. I had that handled, warped in a few Stalkers, had some DTs and Zealots. The Warp Prism was hugely important in there. Just Shield Battery was really good. Army supply 95 to 79. 4th base on the way for now for M. Canning. And a Dark Shrine on the way from Hearthstone too. So this is close. This is a close match. I mean, Hearthstone has the better economy without question. His 4th base is up and running happily and healthily, but the army supply is bigger for M. Canning, but Hearthstone is starting to pull closer in that. Is he abandoning? He can't just sack this base, can he? Kind of feel like he's sacking this base, you guys. Why would you do that? Nice stasis catch. No, M. Canning, what are you doing? Is there another attack I don't know about? Why are you going home? He's waiting for his other disruptor, I guess. I don't know. He's going for a Zealot warp in and attack at Hearthstone's main. I don't know why he didn't stand here. I'm gonna be honest with you. I kind of feel like he could have at least taken down this pylon. Right? I mean, that's damage. It's not game winning or anything. Ooh, here come a ton of Phoenix though. Unload, warp in. You are not, you have no time for any of that. Okay, well, some Zealots did stuff. That's not a big deal. But, oh, Hearthstone does sack his 4th entirely. His army went out of position to deal with that warp in. And again, he didn't need to because he had some Phoenix to handle it, but he lost his 4th base. M. Canning's 4th is here, and M. Canning is suddenly on a bit of a warpath right now. Hearthstone on 3 bases at 12 minutes is not where he wants to be. Hearthstone kind of has to engage right now, but it keeps just flying Phoenix over and losing them. Disruptor shots, big time hits there. Hey, remember I was like, Hearthstone's not going to lose to Disruptor shots. He certainly is. That was massive. The charge lots are all over this place. The Disruptor Nova says, are you fast? Yeah, yes, you're fast. Zealots are faster than stimmed Marines right now with their charge upgrade. Their basic move speed is super zippy. So M. Canning's 4th is a thing, whereas Hearthstone's is not. Army supply 104 to 89. The Disruptor, look at this. Look at M. Canning with his Disruptors and how pleased as punch he is of these units. I'm telling you, he loves them so much. Might be the thing he loves most in the whole world. Blinking on up. Again, the Blink Stalkers are just worth their weight in gold here. They can blink up, pick off a couple units, and get out of there pretty zippily. There are no Stalkers at all. Actually, 1 Stalker. With Hearthstone's arm. Remember how I was like, carriers would be kind of cool from M. Canning? They'd be really good here. All that the anti-air here is basically a couple Archons and a few Phoenix, which are not great against carriers at all. Engagement. He's trying to get his Zealots to the front to engage here, but they're stuck behind the Zealots. Force field, trying to block stuff out. What is even... Oh, DTs on long-distance mining probes. All right, all right. Then detection comes in and DT is dead, but the 4th base is going to get... That's a canceled. That's a canceled or a killed 4th. Take your pick. Killed 4th base. Hearthstone kind of falling apart here. I really like what M. Canning is doing right now. USA. USA. This kid. This guy. I don't know that M. Canning's a guy. He's an adult man. Someone's gonna like send this to him. Falcon Paladin called you a child. I did not. I did not mean to. Look at this poor buzz, like freaking out Archon here. Yeah. Is he really stuck here? He could go around. Can he not fit through that? That's a problem. Whoa! M. Canning going for it in the meantime. Patient. Expanding again. Not overcommitting here. I like what M. Canning is doing. Not overcommitting. Just trying to make sure that Hearthstone doesn't get a 4th base. Making sure... Ooh, nice hit with that Disruptor, though. Wait, was that his own Disruptor hit? That was a suicidal Disruptor hit. But yeah, M. Canning getting a bank. Well, Hearthstone isn't really. Which is what extra bases can do for you. Oh yeah, no, Hearthstone has some. Hey, Disruptor Tennis. We haven't seen Disruptor Tennis in years, it feels like. This was the PvP meta for like, oh gosh. Oh, a couple Archons down. Oh, a couple Stalkers down. This was the meta for like 6 months back in early Legacy of the Void. Oh my gosh, Archon's getting wrecked. Archon's not very fast. They're beefy, and they have splash damage, which is great, but they're not very fast. Yeah, army supply 138 to 75. This is bad for Hearthstone. He's backed into a corner. He's actually, his 3rd is entirely unprotected. Nice blink away from... Man, if there's anybody in the world who knows how to dodge Purification Novas, it's M. Canning. He has more experience with Purification Novas than anybody else does. Yeah, this is GG. I don't know what else this is. His third base is done. Harstum not getting the hits on the disruptors he wants. And M. Canning's got to be feeling pretty good about himself right here. He's got this thing won with his mass disruptor play. Insanity. 17 of Harstum's probes just died there. 17. Disruptor tennis. You send it at me, and I send it at you. Then you send it at me, then I send it at you. This is where this comes from. All right. Well, he's engaging to finish off. Yeah, Harstum is on 2 bases. At 16 minutes, he's done. You can't be on 2 bases at 16 minutes and win unless your opponent's also on 2 bases, and M. Canning is not on 2 bases. So, M. Canning just patiently here. Harstum doesn't want to tap out yet for some reason. Oh, caught a couple of M. Canning's disruptors there. Ooh, nice blink out on that one. I don't know. Am I wrong to think M. Canning can just kind of blink in here and win, even if he gets a couple disruptor hits against him? Oh, he blinked forward. He blinked forward. The disruptors are gone. All the disruptors are gone but 2. A lot of these stalkers are in trouble, though. You'll notice that does happen. Oh, that actually caught one of M. Canning's disruptors. So M. Canning, however, can afford to take these losses. That's the whole point here. He can afford to take the losses. Dark Templar hacking away. Hacking away as M. Canning has no detection up here for reasons. He's bringing an observer in. That is going to help a lot. Just kidding. The observer's going the wrong way. Hey, observer, maybe come up this way? It's got 2 of them. This is a really long and protracted death for Harstum. I'm just saying. Like, these Phoenix are to come over and kill some of M. Canning's probes, which is nice, but it's 62 to 26 workers. And even after this happens, M. Canning is still going to be up in economy by a mile. Look at this. Harstum is mined out in his main base. Harstum is basically mined out as natural. He's got 4 patches. All of them on triple digits, obviously, because it's been so long. Yeah, M. Canning just doesn't want to mess up and lose this, is how he sees this one. Could you sit back here and pick off some of these probes? That kind of looks like a good spot to sit back. Yeah, just again, the trick here is that M. Canning has a bank and Harstum doesn't. And M. Canning can replace dead things easier than Harstum can. So, I mean, the problem with disruptors is they're not great at killing buildings, so you can't really use them to take down that Nexus and just kind of force a GG. Yeah, Harstum desperately trying to retake his third. It's not going to happen. Phoenix come in to, like, absorb some shots. It's another non-canceled base. Oh, losing 2 disruptors on that one shot. Another big-time shot there, getting some other hits. Good game, well played. Harstum taps out, and M. Canning gets the win. I do not want to hear about how NA sucks at StarCraft. That was a big-time win from an American Protoss player against one of the better Protoss in the EU. Well done, M. Canning. GG. 27,000 resources lost for Harstum, 18,000 for M. Canning. How many of disruptors died? 11 of his disruptors died. 10 of Harstum's died, but it was 18-1 disruptor at the end of the game, and that is kind of how you win this thing. 62 probes killed, 4 Nexuses killed. M. Canning did not lose a base the entire game, which is kind of incredible. And it kind of just, I want to say it started with his denial of the proxy oracle. He scouted it. He was prepared for it. The 2 oracles didn't do much work. Harstum was kind of behind from that point on. And then Harstum was able to get up a 4th base faster than M. Canning was, but M. Canning had the bigger army, came in, and Harstum wasn't able to defend. He didn't have disruptors of his own. It's really hard to defend disruptors if you don't have your own disruptors. By the time he got him out, it was too late. His 4th base was done. His 3rd base was cut off from his own support, and M. Canning just kept pushing, being patient, pushing back, and got the win. Harstum was researching Shadow Stride, which is awesome, by the way. I'm very happy about that. So very cool. So that gives the U.S. a 2-1 lead in this best of 7. We are far from done. Stick with it. Hit that like button if you're enjoying yourself so far, and don't go anywhere. World of Sleepers. All right, I'm Canning. Your reward for winning the last game is now having to play Thermal in a PvT. Bottom left-hand corner is Canning. And in the top right, it's Thermal. Alrighty then. These two players have played a lot against each other, so I kind of feel like they're familiar with each other's play styles. Canning expects disruptors, or Thermal expects disruptors, and Canning has no idea what to expect, because Thermal can cheese you. He can play you in the macro game, he can play you in the mid game, and those players who are very excellent at all three aspects of the game are very, very, very hard to predict. So let's see what's going on here. Hey, have you heard of the Falcon Paladin Hour? It is a weekly podcast with myself and Somicron and Ozzy, and sometimes we have a third person on the pod, like when we brought Duddles in, and we did ye old review of StarCraft Rise of Skywalker. If you haven't seen that or listened to it, you should give it a listen. We have some thoughts about this film. We talk a little bit about The Mandalorian and The Witcher as well. So if you want to hear some thoughts on popular culture, including the Star Wars, head on over to Falcon Paladin in your podcast app. Just search Falcon Paladin, I'll come up. Good luck, have fun, toss down in the spray. Or search Falcon Paladin Hour on the internet. You might be taken to abyssaltrip.com, which is Somicron's personal website, where he deals with all of this podcasty stuff. Oh, Mineral Walk. There you go. Good job. Good job. Reaper on the way. Reaper's name is Oliver Klozoff. Klozoff, possibly. I don't know how to say that. It feels Polish to me. I don't know why. So Reaper hop-up spot getting denied here by Canning, as you do in the PvTs from the time to time. Reaper should be here momentarily, but again, it's really hard to get much done, because in the 1-gate expand build, you're going to have a Stalker or an Adept out in time to deal with this Reaper pretty effectively. And if the Reaper is able to get a probe kill, he is hereby enshrined in the Reaper Hall of Fame for life, which did not used to be the case. It used to be Reapers would get routinely 2 or 3 kills, and 5 and 6 kills would get you in the Hall of Fame, but these days, man, it is nigh impossible for this guy right here, Oliver, to get many kills at all. We'll see what he can accomplish, though. He's going to cruise on in, and Adept, 1 shot. Getting that second shot is huge. Doesn't get it. Doesn't get the second shot. KDA charge blasts. Again, a Stalker does easier with this, but Adept is better at scouting the other way. So those are your trade-offs. And the Reaper's going to take 1 shot, but not crucially that third. He has 3 HP, and he is alive. Perfect. Perfectly done. Alright, so anything crazy? Nah, second gas there. We're making a quick starport, so we're 1-1-1ing it here. It could be Banshee play. But again, Protoss have figured out that throwing a single shield battery in your mineral line basically means that you are immune to a single Banshee. A Banshee can't kill any of your workers if you have a shield battery in there, unless she sits there for a long time and tries to kill all of them, drains all the energy on the shield battery, and then starts to go into town on your probes. At that point, sure, you'll be in trouble, but that's a very, very long time. So it's either 2 Banshees, or you want to make a Liberator. Liberators don't care about your shield battery, I can tell you that much. Widowmine burrowed into place to handle a potential Oracle, but no, none of those. Oliver the Reaper is dead. You got a scout off, though. He saw the Robo Facility in the double gates. All right, it's not bad. Robotics Bay, because again, disruptors are on the menu, boys. Here for Canning. Phoenix, hallucinated, here to see what's up. The answer is, it's going to be probably a Widowmine drop. Maybe some Marines in that drop, too. Canning says, I've dealt with this 100 million times before. I love the skin, by the way. That Adept skin is nice. Looking good. I like it very much. Here comes our drop. Stalkers and Sentry and Adept are positioned to deal with it. It's just 3 Widowmines. Not a 4 Widowmine drop, a 3 Widowmine drops. The idea being that basically... Oh, 3rd command center on the way. If it's going to be 4 or it's going to be 3, they're basically going to promote the same response out of the Protoss. So you don't have to worry about it too much. Observer in observation mode. Going to try to cruise on down, or actually see the medevac coming on in. Hey, reaction time, though. Here we go. Reaction time is pretty good. Cha-cha, cha-cha, cha-cha. One Widow Mine down. The other Widow Mine does not get a shot off either. Oh, that's brutal. And the other Widow Mine might get a probe kill. Oh, 3 probe kills. Okay, not bad. And the medevac gets out of there. So 3 probe kills and the medevac lives is not a bad outcome for Euthermal, I gotta say. It's not too shabby. It's going to be a lot of bio. It's going to be tanks. It's going to be medevacs. That's what we're playing at today for Euthermal. The answer to this could be disruptors. Obviously, Colossus also very good. Yeah, extended thermal lance getting started here too. I love the skin on these buildings. Tal'Darim skins. It's really nice. Really just sharp and clean, and the colors pop. Love that stuff. Love it a lot. Third command center is where the... Oh, here it is. Where it's always been, Falcon. You're losing your brain again. Losing your brain, as always, is to be expected. Canning warping in his third, but Euthermal's already taken his third. It's going to be landed soon. It's going to have full faculties and abilities to harvest whatever needs to be harvested over here, and the Phoenix sees this and says, So basically, this is not going to be a huge attack. And actually taking the third base that is separated by these minerals. So SCVs have to come in and get rid of those. Which is some lost mining time, but... Sure. I mean, expanding down here means you have 2 separate entrances, and... This is a ramp you have to defend, which is really good. It's easier to defend the high ground, as Obi-Wan Kenobi will tell you. So, extended thermal lance almost done. 2 Colossus coming out. A lot of Marines, not very good against this. That's what the tanks are for. If it was just Marines, these Colossus would wreck house. But as it stands, the tanks do pretty well in this situation, as they do outrange the Colossus, even if the Colossus have that extended lance. Extended thermal lance. Now, these guys, basically free Marines is what that is. Okay, so that was bad. I think an Adept might have snuck in here, got a couple SCVs, possibly. Canning's getting a Dark Shrine. And it's an old double medevac full of Marines drop. I'm going to try to get into the main base, but there's a Colossus sitting back here waiting for this. I don't really see this working out all that well. And there's a Disruptor in production too. If the Disruptor can be done by the time this drop happens, which I have no reason to think it won't be able to, then a Disruptor plus a Colossus is going to be really good against all these Marines. No matter what they try to do. An Observer here watching for this style of drop coming along the bottom side, as you want to do. And now he's going to see the Colossus and maybe just back out, honestly. He sees the Disruptor too and says, no, I don't think so. Yeah, they're going to unload down here. And then maybe try to... Okay, but Colossus means... Okay, you're going to get a pylon, but... Was that really worth like 3 or 4 Marines? Not sure that it was. So, Euthermal's here with a pretty scary Marine tank push. Some free shots on those Colossus would be great. But 2 Colossus with extended thermal lance are pretty abjectly terrifying. I love this Observer, seeing exactly what's coming over. It's a full 3-basing Terran looking absolutely petrified. Or petrifying. But the tank count getting a little bit intimidating too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. Canning gonna maybe try to throw Disruptor shots over. Oh yeah, tank down on the high ground. Took some tank shots to do it though. Purification Novas, just like Liberators, are really good at attacking stationary targets. Ravagers too, so every race kind of has a unit like that. Marauder can take a lot of shots when it comes right down to with the engagement. Pretty scary though from Canning. Euthermal sending a small bio group up to the 3rd base to try to wipe it out. Meanwhile, can he even engage there without tanking tank fire? I'm not sure that he can. Another, the surround on the Colossus, and I think that's it. If the Colossus go down, that is all that's going to be able to work here for Canning. And I think Uthermal just won this game. Armor Supply 93 to 16. Stimming forward, stutter stepping forward. Good game, Uthermal. Ties it up 2-2. The Netherlands gets a massive win there in a matchup that is considered not as favored for Terran as it is for Protoss. So Uthermal showing what he's at. Showing what he's doing here against M. Canning. Shows up with the Marine Marauder tank play. Positioning was beautiful. If the Protoss army can't get from the natural to the third base without taking tank shots, you've done something good. And then the control to come around the outside, get these Colossus while the rest of the army is kind of trying to deal with this up here. Just pulling M. Canning this way and that, wiping the army out, taking very few losses. Look at this. It is 1,100 resources lost for M. Canning and 400 for Uthermal. That's 31 Marine. Oh, that's idle time. 7,000 to 4,000. I was like, that number seems really low. 7,000 to 4,000. Still very good. 2 tanks, 31 SCVs, or 31 Marines. 19 probes down, 4 disruptors were killed as a lot, and the 3 Colossus is a big deal too. So well played. We're tied up. Let's move on into this best of 7. It is now officially, is it a best of 3 now? It's a best of 3 after 4 games. It's going to be good, going to be exciting. Stick with it. Don't go anywhere. And Uthermal's reward for beating M. Canning is to play against Neeb. Nation Wars is not very fair, y'all. Alright, so left side of Disco Bloodbath is the blue Protoss player Neeb, and on the right side here, it's going to be Uthermal. So let's do this thing. Red versus blue, more PvT stuff. Just not a lot of great Zerg players from either country. It's a lot of Protoss and Terrans, so PvT is what you get. So we got a PvP and a TvT and a PvP. Hold on, PvT, TvT, PvT. Yeah, man, that is actually kind of hard to keep straight there. Anywho, what else do we got? We got merch. You go to falconpaladin.store. You will find merchandise available for you. Nice warm winter hats if you happen to be in the northern hemisphere. We got t-shirts if you're in the southern hemisphere, if you're in Australia. And it's 112 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Maybe you don't want clothes at all. Seems very possible. Air conditioning seems to be more what you're interested in. If we get a Falcon Paladin branded air conditioner, I will let you guys know. But as always, leave suggestions for what you'd like to see in the merch store in the comments, and I'll pass them on to Somicron and see what you can do for you. Recently, we have got suggestions specifically for a battlecruiser themed shirt. We got suggestions for longer shirts. So like long style people with long torsos. I'm trying to get that stuff happening. So we're listening. We're listening to your suggestions, and more are always appreciated. Anybody being crazy here? No, not at all. No proxies. Reaper name is Unsolved Karate Master. Now, like 3 people upvoted that, which means the people like the Reaper name. I don't know what on earth that means. So as long as nothing is happening here, I'm going to Google it real quick. I'm going to do Unsolved Karate Master. And, I don't have anything here, although there's an unsolved album title. Is it a song? Unsolved. No. I don't know what this is. If you know what this is, please tell me in the comments. We'll figure it out together. And by that I mean you will tell me, and then everybody else will know. Bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Ba-dum, bum. Is Neeb taking a third base? Is that what this is up here? Whoa. Neeb wants a third at like 2 minutes. Okay. Well, there's going to be an up tier regardless. But this is delayed. As you know, the Reaper's like, wait, where's the stuff that's supposed to kill me? Okay, I guess I'll get some probe kills. Why not? Seems like a reasonable idea anyway. Probe has to go back home. And we're dancing. We are dancing around this Nexus, and that kind of worked out, right? He still is going to be able to get his third base up. I think it was... Why is his probe over here? It's not. It's actually coming back in. He just was going to go for a third, then changed his mind. Or go for a proxy, but then Uthermal Reapered, so he didn't? I don't... Why? Like, I don't get it. He's gonna Reaper. Every Terran Reapers anyway. So Oracle name is... Help, I'm not an Oracle. I'm a Reaper that was lifted by some Protoss fighter jet and smacked into the ship. I'm now stuck, and I survived by following their orders to kill drones, probes, and yes, some fellow Terrans. If you please rescue me... Receive this message. Please rescue me before I explode. I think we've done that one. Is that a repeat? Someone might have put that in there twice, or made it on the list twice somehow. Def does not get the scout off, but I mean, right? Is able to see the factory and can assume there's a starport up there, and let's just call it a day. No worries at all. So the Oracle is going to try to get in here, but there's a Widow Mine. Again, we've seen this very thing. Ooh, Oracle, are you just dead? Trying to figure out where that Widow Mine is. Doesn't have any idea where it is yet, because hasn't seen that line come out. Man, if you went in there... Oh, now there's a Viking, though. There was about 10 seconds in there where you could have killed some workers in this main mineral line. I guess there's a Widow Mine up there, too. Never mind. Widow Mine's good answer to this Oracle stuff, man. If you're worried about Oracle stuff and they keep killing your SCVs, Widow Mine, man. One where they fly in, one by the mineral line. Maybe get some Marines down here in the natural and call it a day. Third base by Neeb is very fast, but not as fast as 2.5 minutes was. I really feel like he wanted to expand there and he just didn't for whatever reason. There's your lock on and your Viking shot, and Oracle might be alive, just barely alive. 32 HP, not great. Not terrible, not great. I need to make a list of my favorite media from 2019. I have some good things to put on there. I'm going to tell you, Game of Thrones Season 8 will not be on the list. Spoilers. So Nabe decides, you know what, we almost have Blink Stalkers. Let's push across the disco floor here, see what we can find as far as getting on Euthermal's side of the map. The question is there a third base? And there's not, so that's good information. He's going to blink up here. There's really not much other than a Cyclone and a Viking. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, sniping them. Wow, the Widow Mine dies, and one volley, Cyclone Viking in short order. High ground advantage here. Marines not quite able to get up that ramp without dying. So whittling that down, taking down some SCVs while you're at it. Widow Mine does get a hit off there, and then he blinks out. So that was pretty efficient trades, I'd say. Euthermal's lost 900 resources, and Neeb's lost 400. So good trading thus far. Temple Archives, a bunch of gateways on the way from Neeb. Probably going to be Storm, if I had to guess. If you see this much bio, Storm is a pretty darn viable option. Not as good as it is in StarCraft 1, but still very good in StarCraft 2 nevertheless. So tank up and Marines up. That is not a good place for Stalkers to be, but the good news for him is that Euthermal has not taken a third. He's got a third command center, and it's upgraded to an orbital, but he hasn't been able to land it yet. And Neeb is just sitting here on third base, as happy as a clam. So far so good from Neeb. I'd say this is a better situation for him than it was for him canning in game number 1. But there's still a point wherein Euthermal's able to set up, establish this third, and then just start pushing with a ton of bio. The interesting thing for me is that we're not actually going to see Colossus, which is more of the meta right now in PvT. Neeb decides to take a fourth. He's going to take a fourth base. Neeb has the Borderlands skin on his Marines here. See that black outline? It makes them look cell-shaded. It's very interesting stuff. Blink Stalkers trying to trade against this bio, but the longer the game goes on, the harder it is to trade against bio. With Blink Stalkers, eventually it's just not ever going to happen at all. Oracle dead. See you later. Help I'm not an Oracle. All right, Storm's on the way from Euthermal. Called it on that one. Working on armor upgrades, working on attack upgrades for his ground units is Neeb. Euthermal's working on combat shield, but he doesn't have it yet, and it's going to be some time. Question is, can he get in here? Nice interference matrix on those High Templar, but joke's on you, they don't have Storm yet anyway. So force fielding this army out, taking some tank shots regardless, though. Getting right on top of the army. No. Zealots from the back need to get on in. Storm needs to finish, I feel like, for Neeb to handle this. I mean, his fourth base is alive. Euthermal feels like he can win the game right now. He's recognizing there is no Storm. He probably got in here at a time when Neeb didn't have it ready yet. It is 2 seconds from completion. There it is. It's time. It is time for the Storm. Reaction a little bit slow here from Euthermal. Perhaps he's like, wait, what? Is there Storm? Ah, Widowmine friendly fire problematic. Is Neeb gonna hold? No! Euthermal manages to take the game, taking a 3-2 lead. 3-2 lead in this best of 7. Attack comes before Storm is ready to go for Neeb. Neeb got a little bit greedy, taking the 4th base before Euthermal had even saturated a 3rd base yet, and he was punished. He was punished for it. 7,000 to 4,000 resources lost there. 13 probes died. 1 SCV went down. And yeah, it just, you can't hold against that much bio and tanks without splash damage of some kind. Colossus are great. Storm is good. Disruptors can be good. But if you don't have any of those things, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And Neeb definitely was. Got a little bit greedy there. And Euthermal took advantage. And he did get a 3-2 lead here. So, the United States of America is in a desperate position. The country of the Netherlands is ready to rock. Ready to go ahead and take one more win to win this best of 7. I guess I didn't put that down there now, but it's there now. So stick with it. Let's go to the next game. Can the United States force a game 7, or is the Netherlands going to take a very impressive 4-2 lead against my home country? Let's find out together. It's Neeb and Thermostat. Let's round 2 this thing. This time on Winter's Gate. Bottom right, Neeb. Top left, Euthermal. I think Neeb learned a lot from the last game. Namely, do not get greedy against Euthermal. Man, 4 bases before Euthermal had landed his 3rd. Woo! Storm was a good idea, but, you know, came a little bit too late here. What else do I have to talk about? I am on Twitch about 4 times a week, twitch.tv/Falcon Paladin. You can find me out there streaming StarCraft 2 mostly. I did some Witcher streaming today, though. Witcher 3, just kind of ran around, did some quests. Finished up the quest line of the Bloody Baron of Crow's Perch, which, man, this is my new game plus, right? So I beat it once and did all the DLCs, and it took me like 160 hours, which, that was worth the 50 bucks for sure. And then I New Game Plus'd it, didn't really get into it all that much, and kind of started playing it recently with the release of the Witcher Netflix TV series. So I've been kind of running around, doing quests, remembering stuff that I'd totally forgotten about. And to be fair, it's possible I just did things differently too. Because The Witcher has branching quest lines, right? So if you make different choices, different stuff can happen. So it's possible I'm seeing stuff I don't remember because I didn't do it the first time around, and it's possible my brain is just mush because I have 3 kids and I can't remember anything. Those are the options. So Reaper on the way, Charlie Horse. This Reaper was sent to the Reaper program because he kept singing the song that never ends while in the presence of Emperor Mengsk. And it goes on and on, my friends. This Reaper started singing it, not knowing what it was. And he'll continue singing it forever just because it is the song that never ends. And it goes on and on, my friends. This Reaper started singing it, not knowing what it was. Yep, that is indelibly imprinted into my mind from Lamb Chop's Play Along, I think is what it's called when I was not really a kid, but I'm familiar with a lot of kids programming from when I was older just because I have younger siblings, and they love that stuff, and it was on the TV in the house. It was a different time back then. You didn't have access to whatever streaming services you wanted all the time. Kind of were at the mercy of whoever was controlling the TV, and, well, I was outnumbered more often than not back then. We're also, as the Reaper tries to get some stuff done, at the mercy of the networks, because we only had over-the-air TV, and the only channels that had kid programming was like we had 2 PBS stations, which was nice, but that's all just public broadcasting stuff, and then stuff like Fox in the afternoons after school, and then everybody was doing Saturday morning cartoons. But man, other than that, TV was like news programming and adult programming and golf and like NASCAR. It was not ideal. That's why a video game system was so appealing to me, because, well, the Reaper comes back in. Does not get any kills, but is annoying anyway, because you could just play the video game system whenever you wanted. You weren't at the mercy of anybody's scheduling program. Anyway, Adept on the other side here for the Scout, and does not get up the ramp because every Terran player knows how to do that. This poor SCV was bugging out. How to lift up against a Scouting Adept every day of the week. So yeah, this is pretty darn crucial for Euthermal. If he wins this, he sends the US home. There's got to be a lot of pressure here in a situation where he's like, okay, Maybe I got a little lucky in game number 1. Neeb was greedy. I showed up before Storm was done. I don't know if he's going to make that mistake again. I don't think he will, says Falcon Paladin. But you never know. Neeb's like, well, he won't expect me to take a quick fourth again, will he? Meanwhile, this Charlie Horse Reaper, he's called Charlie Horse because that's one of the characters on Lamb Chop's Play Along. Sing Along, something like that. Was Charlie Horse, who wore a baseball cap and jeans and a shirt. And he was a puppet, because a lot of the programming back in the day was about puppets. But, yeah, it was ventriloquism. That whole show was a ventriloquist. Her name was, golly, Sherry, maybe? I'm going to look this up while nothing is happening. I'm in a Raven's on the way, which is cool. Lamb Chops Play Along. It was Play Along. Okay. Got that right. Ran from 92 to 95 with Sherry Lewis. That's who it is. I think she died. Yeah, she died in 98. But she was born in 33, so like, okay, she had a pretty good life, it turns out. But yeah, she was a ventriloquist. She had a whole darn show where she used these puppets to tell stories and teach kids about stuff, and PBS picked it up and ran it, and it was pretty good. I didn't have any real problems with it, and it was, you know, not hated like something along the lines of Barney, for example, which has had annoying songs all the time. I say that when Lamb Chop's Play Along had The Song That Never Ends, which might be the most annoying song of all time. So, engineering bays coming up from Uthermal. Working on those barracks. I don't see him doing much of anything different than he did in game number 1. Seems like the exact same build. Colossus extended thermal lance here from Neeb this time. He's not relying on Storm. He does have his third base up pretty quickly, and it is being defended pretty well. Uthermal doesn't really have much to do. He was trying to move in, looks like, with Widowmine drops, but the stalker count is too high for that. They're spread out evenly. There's really nowhere for him to go. So he'll bide his time, maybe go in when the Protoss has his attention elsewhere. That's another fourth. Okay, Neeb. The only thing he's changing is that he's getting extended thermal lance and Colossus, right? So I guess that's a fair trade, but he still got that fourth base really early. Widowmine, oh, wanted that shot so bad. Really wanted that group of probes more than anything else. There's no blink or this guy would be toast. Unload down there, and oh, again, no shot. Hallucinated Phoenix takes the shot. Widowmine is down, and Uthermal gets nothing done with the Widowmine drop this time around. So that's rough stuff for him. Yeah, third base is going to land, but Neeb's fourth is like 60% complete. So again, Neeb is way ahead in economy right now. Marines, tanks, Marauders. Same darn thing he did in the last game, without question. The only problem is this time it's going to be Colossus with a lot of range on the play, but again, we saw him handle this, right? We saw him deal with this with them canning, so it's nothing new. Concussive Shells is done, which is really important stuff for the Terran. Being able to slow down units and keep them within range of your fire is really fantastic. I love how the Widowmines have little jets on their backs. Like, why did they have that and no one else does? I guess they're faster than tanks and Marines. Maybe that's why. Okay, here we go. Standard push coming at ya. Colossus kind of split up into two separate groups here. Interference matrix on that Colossus would be huge. But pulling back maybe to safety of some cannons just a little bit. Setting up. Tanks are sieging. Let's go now. Before the tanks finish seizing. Interference matrix on 1-2 of the Colossus. Walking into range of death here a little bit. They need to stay out. They need to stay out of here. Are you kidding me right now? Is Uthermal doing this? Colossus still fighting. Okay, they're out of the interference matrix. They're ready to go. Ooh. Uthermal was pushing Neeb, pulling back expertly there, and barely managed to hang on. But barely hanging on means you're a 4-basing Protoss versus a 3-basing Terran. You're making Colossus pretty much non-stop at this stage. Your upgrades are going to be good. And Uthermal, that was a chance. That was your chance to win this thing, I feel like. Is he starting to make a fourth? A fourth CC would be really good here, but I don't see it. Here come the boys! All right, Uthermal says, let's do this. Let's do this now or never. We're pulling everybody. This is not... I'm leaving some SCVs at home. I guess I'm leaving some SCVs at home. But I'm going to go ahead and try to body block you here as well as I can. Where is the Colossus count? Are there only 2? There should be at least 3. If I remember right. Here goes nothing. Again, I think Neeb is definitely willing to sacrifice that base. So he's going to come up this ramp, get that splash damage on those SCVs, keep moving back, keep moving back. The third Colossus has joined the party, and it just doesn't matter. From this high ground position, it's not enough. Widowmine getting friendly fire splash more than anything else there. 30 SCVs have gone down. Uthermal needs to win this now, or it is not happening. And the answer is, it doesn't look like it's happening. There are some Vikings trying to take down the Colossus if they can, but no! Good game, and Neeb does force the game 7, tying this up 3-3. End of the days. That first hold from Neeb was everything. The hold was incredible. Both, well, 2 of his 3 Colossus get interfered with there, which means they can move, but they can't fire, and they can't shoot anything. They almost walked into their deaths. They almost A-moved into the Terran army, but they stayed alive and pulled back in time for it to wear off and force Uthermal back. And from there, Neeb just had the income, and he had the production to do what he needed to do. Even with the SCV pull, Neeb was able to hold that this position right here was massive. Like in a regular battle, right, this would be a sack. This base would die, but Uthermal knew he needed to win, and coming up this ramp was just a 0% proposition. Coming through the slow zones was also a 0% proposition. There's just nowhere for him to go, maybe this way, but again, up a ramp. So this map is really good for defenders, and Neeb took full advantage of it. Uthermal is out. And let's move on to game number 7 of this best of 7 from Nation Wars 2019 between the US and the Netherlands. Stick with it, don't go anywhere. Game 7, it's game 7, here on to right in the ladder edition. Top left-hand corner, Harstum. He is the last line of defense against the US onslaught, and on the bottom right, it is Neeb. He is also the last line of defense against the Netherlands onslaught. All right, so a PvP is what it's going to come down to for the US versus the Netherlands in this best of 7 from Nation Wars 2019. It's going to be good. This is round of 16 tough stuff too, so you win this. You move on into the round of 8, which is a really, like, one of the 8 best countries on Earth at StarCraft. Is not a bad place to be. You got France, you got Germany, you have Korea, you have the United States, you have Finland, obviously. Okay, maybe being top 8. Maybe being top 8 is not all that impressive, but it's still better than being not in the top 8, right? Right? Tell me it's better than not being in the top 8. Okay, we'll discuss that later. Okay, so PvP, again, this is the mirroriest of all mirror matchups. The other matchups are pretty mirrory, but man, you will see deviations in ZVZ and TVT sometimes, and PvP is just the same darn thing for the first 2.5 minutes every single time without question. I mean, in fairness, it does get different when you see what comes out of the gateways, so that's nice. Hearthstone, is he checking for proxies, or no, this is a tossing down his own proxy. That's what that is. He's going to hide some tech. Very well could be a Stargate. Again, proxy Stargate, pretty good in PvP. We've seen this. It is known. Probe scouting on this side is Neeb. Again, noticing a distinct lack of a second pylon. And it's not too strange at first, because obviously he doesn't have his... Oh, he does have a second pylon. So yeah, no second pylon says proxy of some kind. Whether it's close to home or not, I don't know. But he's going to check the natural base for any signs. Nothing there at all. Harstum scouting around, sees pylon 1, sees pylon 2, sees nothing to worry about. Thank you for asking, though. Let's see if Neeb can find it. It is a hunt for the proxy. Bit of an attempted block in here out of Hearthstone, but that's a canceled pylon if ever I saw one. I mean, finishing that would just be inane. There you go. Not a big deal. Just annoying more than anything else. So double Stalker from Neeb. Going for double Sentry is Hearthstone. Told you. Told you that was a viable play. Wow. Natural base from Hearthstone. Natural base from Neeb. Virtually the same time here. Yeah, we're going to call that the same darn time. Scouting Probe dies there for Neeb. His poor Probe is like, where is this proxy? He hasn't looked up here yet, though. That's going to be an issue for you. So Neeb playing pretty defensively at this stage. He's keeping his Stalkers home. His Probe's out doing stuff, but he can't do anything by way of harassment. And actually, Hearthstone isn't building anything up here. I thought he was. I thought he would come down here and build something, but apparently that is just scouting. That is a really early scout for Warp Prisms and Oracles and stuff. But there won't be any of those. We have, just kidding, there could be Warp Prism. So Robotics Facility gets scouted. Nothing too insane there at all. But yeah, this is for all the marbles, man. Both players oversaturated on their main bases because the naturals aren't done yet, and they're almost there, and it's time to do the Maynard transfer down. It's always a good experience to do the Maynard transfer down. There it is. That dates back to like 1999, you guys. I think the person who discovered that was maybe the year 2000. So it's not Maynard the Australian, it is like Maynard, a dude from the 90s who came up with the whole just oversaturate your main base and then transfer down to your natural when it's done. That's how long that strategy has been around for. Adept versus Adept harassment here. Oh, Adept down, gets on out. Wow, Neeb. What stupid good control that was. However, you were being chased by an army of blue and you're super dead. So it was good control while it lasted, I suppose. Neeb has a pylon up here, which doesn't seem to be able to last very long, as Hearthstone already knows it exists, and he'll get rid of that one. So that hurts for Neeb quite nicely. Warp Prism out for Hearthstone, and Warp Prism out for Neeb. So both players are doing some Warp Prism style attacks here, both at the same time and both taking different routes, which indicates to me we might see a bit of a base race scenario. Not like a full base race, but just I'm attacking you and you're attacking me, and we are not in a position to stop this because we're both on either side of the map. Now, Neeb did leave some stuff at home when there's really nothing home for Hearthstone at all. He's bringing everybody with him. So the Warp Prism, boy, just drop it in the main base could be pretty effective. Meanwhile, getting up this ramp with Stalkers and Sentries could be a little tight for Hearthstone. So, yeah, man, the force field. You want to come up through that little choke? Oh, the Sentries are in trouble. Nice pickup. Nice pickup, nice save. Meanwhile, Adepts on the other side of the map are going to town. Warp Prism taking some shots here. There are some shield batteries coming up, and they're not done yet. Probes getting pulled. Desperation time right now. Army supply not very good. The Warp Prisms really doing some good work on the other side of the map here, too. Shield batteries up. Probes down. 12 probes down for Neeb. And 9 down for Hearthstone here. But shield batteries are real. And now an Immortals come out for Neeb. And I don't think this is going to work out for Hearthstone. These Adepts are still killing probes over here. Just one shot, two shot, one shot, two shot. Hearthstone overstaying his welcome a little bit. There are shield batteries, good sir. And your opponent has Immortals. He loses his Immortal. And this Immortal doing tons of damage. Shield batteries are out of energy. This attack has been going on for so long. Hearthstone has lost 20 probes. Are these guys still doing stuff? Oh yeah, still doing stuff. Gonna get another probe kill. And then gets picked up. Insane control from Neeb while defending against this attack on the other side. It is 30 to 20 workers. Neeb pulled probes to stay alive, lost all of them, and he's still up economically. Are you serious? This Adept, though, 16 kill Adept. That might be the most kills I've ever seen on an Adept in my entire life. 16 kill Adept. MVP of the match today for Neeb. And actually, you can two-shot probes even if they're protected by a shield battery because the damage output is so good on these Adepts and fast if you space them together or stick them together like that. Holy, this Adept comes home a hero of the Soviet Union because Neeb is rolling with red here. Or I guess specifically of the United States of America because, you know, Neeb is an American representing his country specifically in this tournament. And bam! Hearthstone taps out in an abrupt GG, but Neeb manages to win it effectively. Oh, come back. Effectively with harassment. I don't even know what to tell you here other than so what we're looking at. End of the game here. It's 24 to 34 workers. Army supply is 25 to 12 in favor of Neeb. And I think he basically poked in. Oh, yeah. He poked in, saw there was army, saw there was saturation, recognized it was going to be a long, hard climb back if he was able to get back at all. Oh, my gosh. Wow. 16 kill adept. 16 kill adept wins it for Neeb. Harstum comes across with a huge army. Neeb does not have much. He has no immortals. He has no shield batteries. He has some sentries to delay the push as long as he can. He loses a ton of probes. He loses 17 probes. But it's not as many as 25 is the thing. 2 immortals went down for Harstum. His army supply at the end of the game was 10, which means he had 5 adepts. And that was it. But wow, a come from behind victory. The US was behind. Neeb dropped a map, and then he comes back and wins 2 games in a row to solidify it for the United States and win the best of 7 in the round of 16. Great job. Great job by Neeb, representing the country well. The Netherlands fighting super hard there too. Harstum, Thermal, Ret. Everybody fighting to within the best of their abilities. M. Canning took a map there too. So glad to see United States players take maps. There have been previous players voted into Nation Wars who never won a map for the U.S., which I'm not saying you need to carry us if you get voted in, but man alive, win a game. Win a single map, please, for the love of all that is holy. And M. Canning did. That's all you need, man. That's all I need from him. So, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful play coming at you today out of the United States. The best of 7 is won. Oh, wow. And I don't know what else to say other than fantastic Protoss and Terran stuff. There was that one game with Zerg and Ret, but it was short and it was over pretty fast and kind of outclassed there. So perhaps more Zergs later on, but for you PvT fans, this was fantastic. Okay, cool. Well, that's going to be it for me today. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void and your Sunday series. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.